things. So the original idea for the intro was to film myself underwater, but when I got underwater, I realized I didn't have a camera, so now I'm back here, and I'm cold. What is up, Flick fans? Welcome back to my channel. Well, I'm dry, but today we're going to talk about Underwater. I need you in the comments down below. Were you looking forward to this film? Did you enjoy it? And let's get into it. So a crew of aquatic researchers work to get to safety after an earthquake devastates their subterranean laboratory, but the crew has more than the ocean to fear. So obviously there's a lot of hesitation going into a film like this. January horror-esque thriller with trailers that appealed to some. I'm not gonna lie, I was getting comments saying, Austin, are you excited for Underwater? And I'm just, they didn't do very much for me. I was afraid that we would be on grudge levels, possibly, of a movie that completely and utterly falls flat on its face. And I'm here to say, while I don't think it's all that good of a film, there is fun to be had with Underwater. And there's actually some craft that went into this movie as well that kept it from being what it could have been, and honestly what it should have been with this story. There are so many moments within the filmmaking where you sit back and go, I like what they were going for. They didn't necessarily execute all the way, but the attempt at Underwater far exceeds what the execution could have been, and because of that, I truly appreciate what it tried to do, right? You have Kristen Stewart, who, people don't think as an action hero, which is really what she is in this film, especially as we progress with this character. We don't necessarily learn all that much about her, nor do we learn about really anyone in this film. From her to John Gallagher Jr. to TJ Miller, I can't even necessarily remember the names. And that is a disappointment when you're coming out of a film that you actually had a bit of fun with at times. And what this film escalates into in the third act, I will admit, far exceeded my expectations of scale. It gets huge, right? It's very contained throughout most of the film, and because of that, you get this claustrophobic feel that will make horror fans happy, and it adds an effect that you don't expect going into this film, and a lot of it has to do with the filmmaking. I thought there were certain moments within the cinematography that worked well. There were other moments where I'm just like, yeah, it's a cliche decision, a choice. And that comes down to the screenplay for me. That's what really sunk the movie, took it underwater, sank the ship. Maybe it's because I took a guest to the film. I had a bit more fun than I thought I was going to have. I actually took my brother. He's over here. Check this out, man. Check this out here, brother.
Hey, how'd you enjoy the movie? Well, I mean, at first I thought it was just, pretty average, but then this really pale dude came in and I think his name was Eduardo.
No, it's not Twilight. It's Underwater. Like I mentioned, a lack of character development. Even the most hardcore fan of Underwater will tell you, they didn't do very much, right? They didn't even try to do a lot with these characters. There is a bit of depth, another pun, to one of the characters that I felt they were teasing something for. I won't say who it is, just so you don't know going in, but there was a tease that maybe he or she wasn't who everyone thought they were, but they never explore that storyline. They never really explore any storyline. They're on their mission, but I do like how the film just kind of throws you into the situation. They don't waste time establishing things beforehand. The character development needed to come within the story, within the adventure. I don't believe we ended up getting it, but the fact that they rushed right into this, and that sounds like a bad thing, me saying it out loud, but it really helped for what this movie is, right? You always have to judge a film for what it intends to do. And honestly, I can't throw this movie too far under the bus because it will hit the general target audience that it's going for. A lot of people are going to have fun with it, and it's a semi-epic adventure when you get into the third act, so there are definitely things to like about Underwater. This isn't your typical awful, horrible, cliches and tropes in there, absolutely. January horror movie, right? This has a bit of that, but it also has some things that do not make you completely upset that you spent money and went to the theater to watch Underwater. And this is one, even though I didn't end up really loving the movie, this is one that I would say if you are interested in it at all, check out in a theater because of the sound design, because of the technical elements, because of the CGI, which I thought was actually pretty good at times, and the fact that this goes to a place that warrants a big screen watch. And how often do you say that about a January horror film? It also had a bit of a video game vibe. We're following these characters first person at times, or we're behind the group as they're heading for some kind of, I don't want to say a final boss at the end of a mission, but it just looks and feels like a video game. But that didn't necessarily get under my skin too often. I actually thought it was kind of cool craft-wise, and there were things to like within this movie. At the end of the day, I do look at it and say it is going to be one of those dump truck films for me specifically, because I didn't really get much from the characters. The story was so predictable. I knew exactly where it was headed, down to the point to where I knew kind of who was going to survive and who wasn't. And that was upsetting, but it was also like, okay, that comes with the territory. And the fact that the screenplay was so lackluster at times, I did not like the voiceover. I enjoy what it did for her specifically, but overall it didn't make a lot of sense to include it just at the beginning and the end. There were also some logical issues that I had that take place. With a film like this, you got to turn your brain off, but really obvious things that I will discuss more. We're going to do a spoiler review, 3C Films and I, on our YouTube channel, Film Strippers. Go check that out if you guys get the chance. That'll drop tomorrow. But a lot of these things that I want to talk about warrant spoilers, so that is a video that you guys need to check out. But overall, I think Underwater was fine. Right, it's a fine movie. It's one that a lot of people will be right down the middle on. I think I'm leaning a tad bit more in the positive direction. I'm still not going to go far over 50. By the way, if you guys enjoy this video, if you like what we do on this channel, smash that thumbs up button. I will definitely bring you as many reviews as I can this year. I want to go 54% Underwater, but just know that this is a film with many, many flaws, so clearly that's going to get under my skin. But a 54, if you think about it, with where it is in the year, it's not all that bad, and there are good elements within that. If you can get past the lackluster character development and the fact that the story is so predictable, there's definitely fun to be had here, and that's what I'll say about Underwater. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. Stay tuned because we have some Netflix reviews coming out this weekend, Like a Boss, which dropped in theaters, and more Oscar coverage. You're truly the best. Possibly a 50K live stream soon? I don't know. We'll see. I'll see you all very soon.